know that some of the biggest British hits of the 1960s weren't originals? These classic tracks owe their fame to brilliant covers. Let's uncover the fascinating stories behind these iconic tunes. 10. Twist and Shout, The Beatles, 1963. Did you know that the Beatles' iconic Twist and Shout is actually a cover? Originally recorded by the Top Notes in 1961, it was later popularized by the Isley Brothers in 1962. The Beatles' rendition, featured on their debut album Please Please Me, was recorded on February 11, 1963. Interestingly, it was the final track they tackled during a grueling 12-hour recording session. Producer George Martin chose to leave it for last, knowing John Lennon's voice might not withstand multiple takes. Lennon, battling a severe cold, delivered a raw and powerful vocal performance in just one take. Martin later remarked, "I did try a second take, but John's voice had gone." The decision to cover Twist and Shout stemmed from the band's admiration for the Isley Brothers version. They had been performing it live since 1962, and it quickly became a staple in their early shows. Paul McCartney once noted, "It was always a great one to pull out of the bag." The recording session itself is the stuff of legend. Engineer Norman Smith recalled that by the time they got to Twist and Shout, Lennon's voice was nearly shot. To soothe his throat, Lennon drank milk and sucked on cough drops between takes. Despite these challenges, his raspy, energetic delivery became one of the song's defining features. Upon its release, the Beatles' Twist and Shout received widespread acclaim. It reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the US, held back only by the band's own Can't Buy Me Love. This achievement made them the first act to hold the top 2 spots simultaneously since Elvis Presley. A fun fact: the Beatles' version of Twist and Shout experienced a resurgence in popularity in 1986 after being featured in the film Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This led to the song re-entering the Billboard charts, introducing a new generation to their energetic cover.
The Puppets, Georgie Groups, and it's the one and only The Animals. That's anything else.
9. The House of the Rising Sun, The Animals, 1964. Did you know that the Animals' haunting rendition of The House of the Rising Sun is actually a cover? This traditional folk song has a rich history, with roots tracing back to 18th century England. The song's narrative tells the tale of a life gone astray in New Orleans, with interpretations varying between male and female perspectives. Before the Animals' iconic version, artists like Woody Guthrie, Lead Belly, and Bob Dylan had recorded their own takes. In fact, it was Bob Dylan's 1962 rendition that inspired the Animals to create their version. In 1964, while touring with Chuck Berry, the Animals decided to incorporate the House of the Rising Sun into their set list to set themselves apart. Their arrangement, featuring Alan Price's mesmerizing organ riffs and Eric Burdon's soulful vocals, captivated audiences. Recognizing its potential, they recorded the song on May 18, 1964, at Delane Lee Studios in London. Amazingly, the entire track was completed in just one take, costing a mere £34, a modest sum for what would become a monumental hit. Upon its release, the song skyrocketed to the top of the UK singles chart and later reached number 1 on the US Billboard Hot 100. This achievement marked a significant milestone, as the Animals became the first British band after the Beatles to top American charts. The success of the House of the Rising Sun played a pivotal role in the British invasion of the US music scene. The song's origins remain a topic of debate among music historians. Some suggest it began as an English folk tune, referencing a bawdy house called the Rising Sun. Others believe it has roots in traditional broadside ballads. Regardless of its beginnings, the Animals' rendition transformed it into a timeless classic. A fun fact: the Animals' version of the House of the Rising Sun has experienced multiple resurgences in popularity. It re-entered the UK Top 40 twice after its initial release, reaching number 25 in 1972 and number 11 in 1982.
First album, it's called Dazed and Confused.
8. Dazed and Confused, Led Zeppelin, 1969. Did you know that Led Zeppelin's Dazed and Confused wasn't originally their song? This heavy psychedelic track has a fascinating backstory that might surprise you. The song's journey begins with American folk singer Jake Holmes, who wrote and recorded Dazed and Confused for his 1967 debut album, The Above Ground Sound of Jake Holmes. Holmes's version is a haunting folk tune that delves into the turmoil of a troubled relationship. Interestingly, Holmes has clarified that the song isn't about a bad acid trip, as some have speculated, but rather about the uncertainty in a romantic relationship. In August 1967, Holmes opened for the Yardbirds, a British rock band featuring guitarist Jimmy Page at a Greenwich Village gig in New York. Captivated by Holmes's performance, Page and the band decided to incorporate Dazed and Confused into their live sets. They reimagined the song, adding a distinctive descending bass line and an experimental section where Page used a violin bow on his guitar strings, creating an eerie, otherworldly sound. When the Yardbirds disbanded in 1968, Page formed Led Zeppelin and brought Dazed and Confused into the new band's repertoire. Led Zeppelin's version, recorded for their 1969 debut album, featured new lyrics and a heavier arrangement, transforming the folk tune into a hard rock epic. The song became a centerpiece of Led Zeppelin's live performances, often extending beyond 20 minutes with improvisational solos and elaborate instrumental sections. However, the transformation of Dazed and Confused wasn't without controversy. Holmes wasn't initially credited for the song, leading to a legal dispute decades later. In the early 1980s, Holmes reached out to Page regarding the lack of songwriting credit, but received no response. It wasn't until 2010 that Holmes filed a lawsuit against Page for copyright infringement. The case was settled out of court in 2012, with subsequent releases of the song crediting it as by Jimmy Page, inspired by Jake Holmes. A fun fact: despite its prominence in Led Zeppelin's catalog, Dazed and Confused was performed over 400 times during their concerts, often as a showcase for Page's innovative guitar techniques and the band's improvisational prowess. 7. Louie The Kingsman, 1963.
Tired of expensive, low-effort script writers for your YouTube channel? Autoscripter.ai is the ultimate solution. Say goodbye to low-quality, poorly retention amateur scripts that fail to generate thousands of views for your channel. At a fraction of the cost, Autoscripter.ai helps your videos go viral. In just 3 steps, Autoscripter.ai creates a polished script tailored to your needs. Just input your title concept, select your tone and style. The intuitive interface makes editing and refining effortless, fast, smart, and trusted by hundreds of satisfied users who have already discovered the amazing tool. Start your free trial today and watch Autoscripter.ai transform your YouTube channel. Just click the link in the video description below now.
Did you know that the Kingsman's iconic Louie was recorded in a single take? This garage rock classic has a backstory as intriguing as its famously unintelligible lyrics. Originally penned by Richard Berry in 1955, Louie was inspired by a Latin tune titled El Loco Cha-Cha. Berry's version narrates a sailor's longing to return to his love. In 1961, Rockin' Robin Roberts and the Wailers released a more upbeat rendition, which caught the attention of the Kingsmen, a young band from Portland, Oregon. In April 1963, the Kingsmen decided to record Louie as a demo, aiming to secure gigs. They booked a modest recording session at Northwestern Inc., a local studio, for a mere $50. The band, eager to capture the raw energy of their live performances, recorded the song in just 1 take. Lead vocalist Jack Eli stood on tiptoe, straining to reach a microphone suspended too high, which contributed to his slurred delivery. This, combined with the band's unpolished playing, resulted in a rendition that was both chaotic and captivating. Upon its release, the song's muddled lyrics sparked widespread curiosity. Teenagers speculated that the garbled words concealed obscene content, leading to rumors of hidden profanity. These rumors gained such traction that the FBI launched a 31-month investigation to determine if the song violated laws against the interstate transportation of obscene material. After extensive analysis, including playing the record at various speeds, the FBI concluded they were unable to interpret any of the wording in the record. This official ambiguity only amplified the song's mystique and popularity. Despite, or perhaps because of the controversy, Louie Louie became a massive hit. It climbed to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and secured the top spot on the Cashbox Pop and R&B charts. Its success was a testament to the song's infectious rhythm and the allure of its perceived rebelliousness. A fun fact: during the recording, drummer Lynn Easton accidentally dropped a drumstick and uttered an expletive, which can faintly be heard around the 54-second mark. Due to the session's low budget, the band couldn't afford another take, so the mishap remained in the final release. This unintentional addition only added to the song's raw charm. Over the years, Louie Louie has been covered by over 1,600 artists, spanning generations from punk to reggae. Its simple 3-chord structure and enigmatic lyrics have made it a favorite for bands worldwide. The Kingsman's version, however, remains the definitive take, embodying the rebellious spirit of 1960s rock and roll.
The world and, well, the state of the union was, and, well,
6. I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Did you know that Marvin Gaye's iconic I Heard It Through the Grapevine wasn't the first version released? In fact, Gladys Knight and the Pips brought it to the public ear before Gaye's rendition took center stage. The song, penned by Motown legends Norman Whitfield and Barrett Strong in 1966, was originally recorded by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. However, Motown's Berry Gordy decided against releasing their version as a single. Subsequently, Marvin Gaye laid down his take in early 1967, but Gordy again withheld its release, feeling it wasn't the right fit at the time. Enter Gladys Knight and the Pips. Recognizing the song's potential, Whitfield produced a more upbeat, gospel-infused rendition with them. Released in September 1967, their version soared to number 1 on the Billboard R&B Singles Chart and peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Pop Singles Chart, becoming Motown's biggest-selling single up to that point. Despite this success, Marvin Gaye's rendition remained in the vault. It wasn't until August 1968, when radio DJs began playing his version from the album In the Groove, that it gained traction. The overwhelming positive response led Gordy to release it as a single in October 1968. Gaye's soulful, haunting interpretation resonated deeply with listeners, propelling it to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 7 weeks and surpassing the success of the Pips version. A fun fact: the phrase "heard it through the grapevine" refers to the informal transmission of information, akin to today's concept of word of mouth. This expression dates back to the Civil War era, highlighting the songwriter's clever use of colloquial language to convey themes of rumor and betrayal. 5. Mr. Tambourin Man, The Byrds, 1965. Did you know that the Byrds' Mr. Tambourin Man was a game changer in music history? This iconic track, released in 1965, wasn't just a cover. It sparked the folk rock revolution. Originally penned by Bob Dylan, Mr. Tambourin Man showcased Dylan's poetic lyrics and folk roots. However, it was the Byrds' rendition that catapulted the song to mainstream success. Their version, released on April 12, 1965, transformed the acoustic folk tune into a jangly, electric masterpiece. This fusion of folk songwriting with rock instrumentation created a fresh, innovative sound that resonated with a wide audience. The Byrds' lineup at the time included Roger McGuinn, Gene Clark, David Crosby, Chris Hillman, and Michael Clark. Interestingly, due to producer Terry Melcher's concerns about the band's readiness for recording, session musicians from the famed Wrecking Crew played on the track, with McGuinn providing the distinctive 12-string Rickenbacker guitar riff. The band's harmonious vocals layered over this instrumental backdrop created a rich, textured sound that became their signature. Upon its release, Mr. Tambourin Man quickly climbed the charts, reaching number 1 on both the Billboard Hot 100 in the US and the UK singles chart. This success marked a significant milestone, as it was one of the first instances where a folk song topped rock and pop charts, highlighting the growing acceptance and popularity of the folk rock genre. A fun fact: the Byrds' version of Mr. Tambourin Man was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1998, cementing its status as a pivotal recording in music history. 4. Somebody to Love, Jefferson Airplane, 1967. Did you know that Jefferson Airplane's iconic hit Somebody to Love wasn't originally theirs? The song's journey is a fascinating tale of transformation and serendipity. Originally titled Someone to Love, the song was penned by Darby Slick, guitarist for the Great Society, a 1960s San Francisco band that featured his sister-in-law Grace Slick as the lead vocalist. Inspired by a personal breakup, Darby channeled his emotions into the song, capturing the essence of longing and the quest for genuine connection. The Great Society recorded it in 1965, but their version remained relatively obscure. In 1966, Grace Slick made a pivotal move to Jefferson Airplane, bringing Somebody to Love and her own composition, White Rabbit, into the band's repertoire. Jefferson Airplane reimagined Somebody to Love with a more aggressive rock arrangement, amplifying its intensity and urgency. Grace's powerful vocals combined with the band's dynamic instrumentation breathed new life into the track. Released in February 1967 as part of their album Surrealistic Pillow, Jefferson Airplane's rendition quickly gained traction. It climbed to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming one of the first major hits to emerge from the burgeoning San Francisco music scene. The song's success played a significant role in bringing the counterculture movement into mainstream awareness. A fun fact: Rolling Stone magazine ranked Jefferson Airplane's version of Somebody to Love at number 274 on their list of the 500 greatest songs of all time, cementing its status as a timeless classic. 3. Wild Thing, The Troggs, 1966. Did you know that the Troggs' iconic hit Wild Thing wasn't originally their song? Its journey from obscurity to rock and roll anthem is a tale of serendipity and raw energy. In 1965, American songwriter Chip Taylor, brother of actor Jon Voight, penned Wild Thing for the New York-based band The Wild Ones. Taylor composed the song swiftly, aiming for a sexual kind of feeling vibe. The Wild Ones released their version in November 1965, but it failed to make an impact. The song's fate took a turn when a demo reached Larry Page, manager of the English band The Troggs. Recognizing its potential, Page had the Troggs record Wild Thing in 1966. Their rendition, characterized by a raw, distorted guitar riff and Reg Presley's gritty vocals, was completed in a single take. The distinctive ocarina solo added an unconventional touch, contributing to the track's unique sound. Upon its release in April 1966, Wild Thing quickly climbed the charts, reaching number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the US and number 2 on the UK singles chart. Its primal energy resonated with audiences, and the song became a defining track of the garage rock genre. The song's influence extended beyond the Troggs' success. At the 1967 Monterey Pop Festival, Jimi Hendrix delivered a legendary performance of Wild Thing, culminating in him setting his guitar ablaze, a moment that has since become emblematic of the era's rock and roll excess. A fun fact: due to a distribution dispute, Wild Thing was simultaneously released on two competing labels, Atco and Fontana. Both pressings originated from the same master recording, making it the only single to reach #1 for two companies at the same time.
Won't you come down here, my dear, and we can find out a little bit about the Curtis Mayfield
2.
music?
Respect. Aretha Franklin, 1967. Did you know that Aretha Franklin's iconic rendition of Respect was originally recorded by Otis Redding? This transformation from a man's plea to a woman's demand for equality is a fascinating journey. In 1965, Otis Redding penned and recorded Respect, infusing it with his signature soulful style. His version portrays a man pleading with his partner for respect upon returning home, emphasizing traditional gender roles. The song became a modest hit, showcasing Redding's powerful vocals and heartfelt delivery. 2 years later, in 1967, Aretha Franklin reimagined Respect, flipping the narrative on its head. Her rendition transformed the song into a bold declaration of a woman's demand for respect, both in her personal life and society at large. Franklin's powerful vocals, combined with the addition of the RESPECT chorus, as well as the "Sock It To Me" refrain, added layers of empowerment and assertiveness. This version not only became her signature song, but also an anthem for the feminist and civil rights movements. Upon its release, Franklin's Respect soared to the top of the charts, reaching #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It earned her 2 Grammy Awards in 1968 and solidified her status as the Queen of Soul. The song's impact was profound, resonating with audiences worldwide and becoming a rallying cry for social change. A fun fact: Otis Redding, upon hearing Franklin's version, reportedly said, "That girl took my song." This acknowledgement highlights how Franklin's interpretation brought a new dimension to the original composition.
How much sleep do you need to be alert?
Alert? I guess about 8.
1.
8 hours?
All Along the Watchtower, Jimi Hendrix, 1968. Did you know that Jimi Hendrix's electrifying rendition of All Along the Watchtower was so transformative that even Bob Dylan altered his own performances after hearing it? This iconic cover has a fascinating backstory that intertwines the genius of both artists. Originally penned by Bob Dylan, All Along the Watchtower was released in 1967 on his album John Wesley Harding. The song, with its enigmatic lyrics and minimalist arrangement, stood out as a haunting folk piece. Dylan's composition featured a conversation between a joker and a thief, set against a backdrop that many interpret as apocalyptic. The song's brevity and poetic depth left ample room for reinterpretation. Enter Jimi Hendrix, a fervent admirer of Dylan's work. Upon hearing the track, Hendrix was captivated by its potential. He once remarked, "All those people who don't like Bob Dylan's songs should read his lyrics. They are filled with the joys and sadness of life." In January 1968, Hendrix and his band, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, entered Olympic Studios in London to record their version of the song. The session was intense, with Hendrix meticulously crafting each element. Engineer Eddie Kramer recalled that Hendrix recorded numerous takes, striving for perfection. Hendrix's rendition transformed the song into a psychedelic rock masterpiece. He infused it with a searing guitar solo, innovative studio effects, and a sense of urgency that contrasted with Dylan's original. Released in September 1968, just months after Dylan's version, Hendrix's All Along the Watchtower quickly climbed the charts, reaching #20 on the Billboard Hot 100. It became one of Hendrix's most celebrated tracks, showcasing his unparalleled ability to reinterpret and elevate existing material. Bob Dylan himself was profoundly impacted by Hendrix's cover. In a 1995 interview, Dylan expressed his admiration, stating, "It overwhelmed me, really. He had such talent. He could find things inside a song and vigorously develop them." Dylan was so impressed that he began performing the song in a style reminiscent of Hendrix's version, acknowledging the guitarist's influence. He noted, "I like Jimi Hendrix's record of this, and ever since he died I've been doing it that way." A fun fact, Hendrix's version of All Along the Watchtower was recorded with the help of Rolling Stones guitarist Brian Jones, who played the piano during the session. However, his contribution was ultimately not included in the final mix. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed uncovering the secrets behind these 1960s hits, smash that like button and subscribe for more music deep dives. Check out our other videos for even more fascinating stories. Don't miss out!